Hi, Norman. Thank you so much for joining us. So in order to begin, some of the questions we have for you as a past investor, wanted to learn a little bit more about your background. So can you tell us a little bit more about your professional background in addition to, how did you get into real estate?
Yeah, sure thing. So my background is in accounting and information systems, and been doing that for about 10 plus, maybe 11, 12 years now, focusing in contract compliance and cost recovery. I'm a consultant with one of the big four consulting firms, and got into real estate probably around 2013, 2014, like everybody else, starting with single family long-term rentals. Then once I got to three properties, I was like, okay, I can't take calls during the day to deal with plumbing issues or AC issues. I was like, let me look into elsewhere. I dabbled around in different businesses. Then I got into multifamily because I went to a real estate event and there's a speaker talking about apartment syndications. And there are folks skipping the process of starting with single family rental properties. And then from there, I was like, okay, let me check into this, went to their meeting and just met up with people, just asked a lot of questions before I invest my first deal. But what's funny, my very first apartment syndication, I guess as an LP, was with friends here in Houston, where we were like, okay, we're all in our 20s. We were doing single family rentals, and we're like, why don't we pull our money together and do a syndication essentially. I had no knowledge. My friend, he was way more knowledgeable, and so we kind of set up that syndication. And so I invested in it, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens. I trust these guys. I know them. I like them. So I was like, that was kind of my metric at that point. Like, know, like them, and trust them, right, before investing. And from there, I met with other, I guess, sponsors and syndicators at other real estate events, and got to know some other syndicators, and just really interviewed them, asked a lot of questions, see what their approach is with apartment complexes. And then from there, I was like, let me invest more into it because I was getting returns from the deal that I was in with my friends here in Houston. So like I know, okay, the distributions work. I haven't gone full cycle yet. So like you mentioned earlier, a lot of friends are like, oh, you're just gonna send money to a stranger that you don't know about, right? And then you're worried, okay, you just lose all your money, or what's going to happen next, right?
Right.
Is it secure? Are you going to get returns back and whatnot? So one of my very first deals I invested 4 years ago finally went full cycle earlier this year, and then that was kind of my aha moment. And it was like, okay, it works, right? And I can tell my friends, hey, it worked. I doubled my money, got my distributions even through COVID. So okay, this works.
The first deal was the one you invested with your friends, right? That went full cycle?
Correct. Yeah.
Got it. And then in terms of the whole vetting process, were you more like you trust them already because they're your friends, or were you more critical just because they were your friends and you wanted a whole more information metrics of the deal?
Uh, I trusted. It's more on, I guess, the trust aspect, and they're very, very technical.
Mm.
They would run numbers all day, so I'm like, okay. I trust these guys. You guys are better at numbers than I am. You know, I'm an accountant too, right? But I was like, okay. Let's try it out. I understood the process of it, and just knowing that, hey, we're doing a value add. That's our goal, and it's essentially, in like layman's term, a fix and flip, right? You're just adding the value to it, and then profiting and exiting, right? So look, I like this, and I like what they were projecting, and they walked through the business plan, the PPM, and all the paperwork through it. So okay, uh, everything's legitimate. There's all the paperwork, paperwork behind it. So I was confident, and I was like, let's take a chance. With any investment, there's risk, right? So
Right.
Yeah. So
When
I
you
was curious. I'm sorry, Christina.
go ahead.
Yeah, just so to contrast, now you've seen it on both ends, and you've seen because that is a very common misnomer, at least in the real estate, the larger multifamily space, that they think it's a scaling thing where they have to start with even before
yeah,
flipping, like wholesaling and then flipping and then buy and hold and go larger.
yeah.
But you've seen it in both ends. So what was the biggest barrier that you felt like, no, actually, I can move from flipping to straight to, or actually even with no background, just go straight to syndication. What do you feel like why people don't go straight to syndication? Even
I
like an
think
LP, not even like a GP, just like an L passively invest.
Yeah, I think people don't realize it's available for just the average person. I think they think, oh, I don't have money to invest in an apartment complex. Even as an
Mm.
LP, okay, those are millions of dollars. Who would let me in that type of deal? And I just
Uh-huh.
remember from reading a lot that, oh, like a lot of wealthy folks, they're syndicating money, right? They're pulling all these private equity firms. They're pulling money together to purchase massive assets, right?
Yes.
And then when I came upon syndications and apartments, I'm like, okay, this is doing it the same. We're doing the same thing as the private equity firms, but at a smaller scale, right? We're just dealing with smaller apartments, and we can do it as a group of individuals here that, hey, we might not be multi millionaires, right? But we can do it together. I'm like, okay, I like this concept. It works. People are doing it all day, every day. We just don't know about it. It's not, I guess, publicly marketed or advertised, I feel like.
The first deal was a 506B or a 506C deal?
Which one is the unaccredited one? It's
Oh, the
yeah,
B, the friends and family
B.
rate.
Yeah, B. Yeah, I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah,
It was,
they're also technical.
yeah, it was a C. It's a C. It was a C class deal here in Houston. 65. No, it's 63 units. They had 2 storage units that we converted to additional units.
Smart.
So value add right off the bat, right there, right? We got those filled up, and so yeah.
And I guess from your first syndication deal to 900 doors, like at what point were you like, I need to find more deals, I need to invest more money into syndications?
I think it was after maybe the first year with the first deal where I got the quarterly distributions. I'm like, okay, hey, I like this. Like, I can focus on my corporate job. I don't have to worry about a phone call about any plumbing issues, AC issues, or any issues at all. It's really okay. Hey, we get our monthly reports and a quarterly distribution on how the assets go. I'm like, okay, man. At that time, I was like, man, I wish I had more money to put in more LP deals so I can just continue growing my cash passively without any effort at all, right? So that's what kind of drove me. Like, hey, I want more of these deals, but
Yeah.
I need more money though.
Yeah. To what you're saying, Norman, is like, so, and this is also one of the, I guess, the misconception, or like what people don't see, like, oh, I can invest and buy and hold. Like, I can be a passive investor, like own maybe like a fourplex, a duplex, and then, once it's leased up, they probably think the management portion wouldn't be as much. And like you've already mentioned, like you have a day job, plus there's still certain issues that you have to attend to. But as an LP, it is completely passive. Like, and just for the audience who maybe have no experience being an LP, like what, outside of after you gave them your distribution, what was your responsibility? What else did you have to do?
Nothing. I didn't have to do
Right,
anything.
exactly. Right. So yeah, that is the two biggest distinction. Like, if you just by definition of passively investing, being an
Yeah,
LP is now like a complete passive, because the general partnership team or GP is doing all the management, which you would have been doing on your smaller multifamily, correct?
exactly. 100% agree. I think it's that passive piece that's key. Like, I don't do anything. It's passive.
Yeah, and it really goes down to when people say, yes, I can put in money and returns, but most people miss the return on effort. Like, yes,
Yeah,
you're putting your money to work, but also how much time and effort are you putting to get that passive feeling or passive returns? And
exactly. People aren't
even if,
accounting for that time effort, the time effort.
yeah, yeah, because now if you outweigh passively investing here or passively investing as an LP, which zero time was actually inputted during the hold period of that property, versus passively investing in smaller multifamily where you still have to put some minor effort to it.
Yep, 100% agree.
Yeah.
When we attended SEERCon, I think a lot of the younger folks were interested in kind of the short-term rentals, or like, flipping, wholesaling. What would you say to them in terms of like, how do you compare some of these more other areas or specialization in real estate compared to syndication? Seems like you've already found your niche that you're really like gung-ho about. How would you compare the others?
Yeah, I feel like I guess my advice would be to try everything and see what you like to do best. Because I've tried wholesaling before, because you hear about the quick returns and you don't have any initial capital that you need to save up for. It's really time effort that you're putting into. Yeah, I would encourage the young folks to try everything. Like try long-term rentals, try short-term rentals, try fix and flipping. See what you like. Try LP, try being an LP. Try it all first, and then see what you like and what interests you most. And you need to tailor it to your investment goals, right? Like in my situation, I got a busy corporate job. It's hard for me to run a syndication myself right now, right? I can't do underwriting. I can't go look at properties. I'm stuck doing my work 9 to 5, right? So being an LP is ideal for me, where I'm still in the real estate world and generating income passively. And of course, you can make way more. Like everyone's talking about short-term rentals. All my friends are talking about short-term rentals too, right? The crazy returns that they're getting. And yeah, if you have the time and the effort to do it, then by all means. Like I wouldn't say like syndications are better than any of the other ways. It's what's best for your investment strategy and your goals.
Very well said. Yeah, and this is where, and by no means you've hit it, the nail on the head there, where you actually have to have a good understanding of your current position. For instance, do you have a wife? Do you have a kid? Like, do you want to attend those events? Plus, what kind of hours expectancy does your job require? And then those where now you have to fit your investing style to that kind of lifestyle. So, yeah, perfectly said, Norman. Like, no one really says which investment is best, because I think we hit it earlier. Returns really is not the biggest driving factor. It's also the demand of time. Like
Exactly.
if something gives you so much money but you can't allocate time, it's worthless. Like, you can't even allocate your efforts to it. So it's spot on identifying first what you're capable of, your time allotments, and then identify the investment style that can fit that.
I really want to emphasize that time piece of it. Like, you can always make more money, but you can't get any more time, right? In one of my other Facebook groups where this lady, she's a huge apartment syndicator, but she has more LP deals than syndication deals. And she made a comment recently that she's gotten so much more time freedom back with all her LP deals. Like, she doesn't need to work anymore. She'll just look at deals now, but she doesn't need to work anymore. Like, if she finds good deals, she has good teams she's working with. She just put money into their deals as an LP, and she has all the time freedom now that she wants. Like, I feel like that needs to be emphasized, is that time freedom.
Dude, I know of like a really experienced GPs. They say like, that's my goal. If I can be a professional LP, like write checks all day, that's all I want to do. Because like you said, what I'm not gaining more every day is time. I want my time back. So GP is really like, if I can relate it back to flipping, it really is a capital building activity. If you build, you said it yourself, I just need more money. If I have more money that I can just keep plowing to LP, that's what I wanted to do. And that's what most GPs do. Like, let me start flipping first, build up my pool of capital. And if I have enough money to just LP and just passively live off of it, and why would I spend more time? Because the time requirement to be a GP is a lot, honestly.
Exactly.
Is it okay to go to lightning round questions?
Okay,
go ahead.
The first one is, it's a sentence and you have to fill out the rest of the statement. So the first one is syndications work because.
Syndications work because it's been a model that's always been done in the past. People have always been pulling money together to purchase assets and share the wealth together.
It's a good one. The biggest BS I've heard about syndications is.
I would say that it's a scam and they don't work, or they're trying to take. They're just trying to take your. They're trying to use your money and they're gambling with your money, basically.
I've heard that before too.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Adrian, do you want to do the next one, or I can go?
Yeah, please go.
If I had to change anything about my LP investments it would be?
If I had to change anything about my LP investments, it would be
Either time frame, maybe location of the asset, like hold period, returns, anything.
that's a tough one. Maybe I've just been lucky because of the ones I've invested in, I've had good sponsors and I've been getting my distributions. And I've heard the horror stories where folks are like, in some syndications, they have to do a capital raise or there's a lot of other
Capital
issues,
call, yeah.
capital calls, and property management issues and fights between the syndicators. I would say thoroughly vet the syndication team.
Gotcha.
I would say, yeah.
How have you vetted all of your syndicators before, out of curiosity? Just like getting on the call with them, meeting up at conferences?
Getting a call, having lunch, coffee with them, meet them face to face, and just kind of, I'm big on face to face, just to really so you can get to know them versus just over a phone call or just a Zoom call. Like you want to really get to know the person, see if their values align with yours, and see if you guys just jive, right? Like you want to make sure that, like I said earlier, if you know, like, and trust them, I think that's when, if you have those key factors, I think that would help in making a decision if you want to work with those syndicators or not.
Very well said. The best book for passive investors to read is?
Best book. I don't know if Rich Dad Poor Dad would count into that, but I really like Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, just because that book helped change my mind of using my time for money. And he always emphasized that you want your money to work for you, right? And just leverage your time through your money. So I don't know if Rich Dad Poor Dad is really focused on passive investing, but I feel like that book kind of helped change my mind about, oh, how do I make more money? Like everyone's like, oh, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to go get another job or get a higher paying job versus buying assets where you can earn passive income.
No, that is actually 100% I think if you can summarize the book, it's like buy assets that can produce income versus you trading your time for that income. Yeah. So, I mean, being an LP is like spot on that, right?
Yeah.
So great answer.
And the last question is, sponsors that do X are the ones I trust the most.
Ooh. Sponsors that do X are the ones that I trust the most. That's a good question. I can't think of anything for that one. That do X that I trust the most. When you meet a lot of sponsors and syndicators, everyone's going to put on a good show, right? They're going to put on, hey, they're the best, their deal is the best. Yeah. How do you kind of differentiate amongst them, right? I think having a track record, maybe a track record, like really understand their past experience. Yes. Like a lot of the ones I've invested with, they have a previous real estate background where they understand the real estate. Or like, even if it's just long-term rentals, they understand real estate. They've done it. They've been through it. Versus there's a lot of syndication programs out there where they're, oh yeah, you can buy this program, you can buy your first apartment real quick, and yeah, you get a lot of students. You'll pay $50,000 for a membership, and they think they can sponsor a deal and raise capital. Mm-hmm. That's what I would really want to make sure that they have a track record, a previous track record in real estate.
I was going to say respond to emails, but I think your bar is a little higher than mine.
That's a good one. That's key. Responding to emails.
Or being responsive in general, right? Like if you call them, you want them to give you a call back.
Yeah. I think also the most ones and this is like even not LP not demanding it. The really, really great sponsors that I've met, what they do is they give them the actual underwriting and the T12 and rent roll. So they want their LPs to understand it. Like we're not just putting pie in the sky numbers. Like, hey, if you actually want to see how we're coming up with these projections, like full transparency, this is our model. This is the current rent roll in T12. Like you can see the lease the person renting, so they will know the actual income of the property and how it's going to run.
Definitely. The more transparency, the more data they can provide, the better, for sure.
I don't have any more questions, but my last one would just be like any advice that for someone who has not pulled the trigger and they're like dangling, thinking, reading about syndications, but haven't really made the jump. Like, what is your advice or last kind of comforting words to them?
I would say at some point you'll have to take the risk. I mean, even if you don't do anything, that's taking a risk too, right? Because then the opportunity cost and that day, those or years that go by, if you're like, okay, pull the trigger on 50,000, 100,000, like, are you going to do anything better with your money at that point, right? If you want to try to learn something new or try something, then pull the trigger. Don't let analysis paralysis hurt your personal investments, right?
Yeah.
One. Any last questions from you, Adrian?
No, I don't want to dilute anything he said. Like, I'm so surprised that this is actually really, he made a lot of really good points, even on the passive side, that I hope, the viewers would consider, especially time. And I know it may sound cool, like, oh, owning short-term rentals. I've like owned like my name on it, and then I can actually visit it and all that. But in the end of the day, like what Norman says, like, just look at your balance sheet, look at the cash that are coming in, and what did they have to put in to get that. Like he said, I did nothing. So that is the most valuable thing, I think. And a lot of people value that. So maybe later on in life, in their investment career, that's when they value, oh man, I could have just spent more time doing something else than my money's working harder than I am. So great point. I don't want to dilute that point. So thanks, Norman.
Thank you, Norman. I'm going to stop the recording now.
Thank you, guys.